Oh, thank you for bearing with me. How's it going? Man, happy Tuesday. Man, that was, you think I've done this before? Well, mess up? Yeah, I've done that before, but you would think I've actually streamed before. Well, a lot's changed since the last time I've streamed. Quite a bit. Yeah, so I won't go into too much detail, but I had to install a preview version of Windows 10 to get some more features that I need for some things that I'm testing. And it's no surprise I'm testing out my RTX 3090. It's not hooked up yet. I know that's going to be your next question. But I needed some new features from Windows 10, so I thought, yeah, I'll do the insider preview. Well, the last time I did that, things were terrible. And this was early Windows 10 days. I'm not talking about like the insider preview probably for the last year. I'm talking about like 3 years ago or something like that. And I was always on the fast ring. They don't have a fast ring anymore. I just figured out they have one called dev and one called something else and one called something else. Well, anyways, I'm peeking too. Anyways, I installed the dev version, which is basically the old school fast ring. And man, Windows 10 is really different now. So there's some pretty cool things coming. Weather's built into the taskbar, news is too. I don't know how to disable it. So lots of different things. A whole new UX. When you launch stuff, you get new animations. That's not the point. The point is that I went crazy building and tweaking a ton of stuff. Hi, Trey, man, you guys are awesome. Thank you. Anyways, I went kind of crazy building and tweaking a ton of stuff and installing a ton of stuff to prepare for my 3090 to do some testing with it. And oh man, that did not go well. So as you guys know, audio and video are like the most sensitive things on a system, I feel like. Drivers too. And I could go on for hours because last night I decided, 2 nights ago, I decided to dual boot my machine again. Let's dual boot Windows and Linux again. It's about time because I need to do some testing. Oh man, I realized, how far away Linux is still from being a mainstream desktop. Don't get me wrong, like all the mainstream stuff I wanted to do was fantastic, but the things that aren't normal, like maybe OBS, that worked. My NVIDIA card kind of worked, mostly worked. My Go XLR didn't work at all. So all this custom hardware I had installed didn't work. So anyways, had to kind of pull the plug on that. But anyways, I'm back to dual booting Linux, and then I'm on some crazy Windows preview build, 21,292. And man, things are different. Anyways, long story short, it kind of messed up some of my audio drivers and all of my mappings for my Go XLR. So I just switched them all back. Anyways, long story short, oh man, man, what are you guys working on? Let me scroll up because man, thank you so much. First of all, thank you. There were some subs and I'll call them out here in a minute. I need to open a couple of other things. But there were subs as I was getting started when I kind of didn't maybe sort of have audio. So I really appreciate it. So let me make sure I thank you guys for that. Craven, hey, resub, dude, tier 3, 8 months, man. Oh my gosh, thank you so much, man. Really appreciate it. How you doing, Craven? Hope you're doing well. First of all, yeah, PC Geek, he was first. He's usually first in here. Thank you for being first, and thanks for being here. Appreciate it. Easton Co, or just Easton, he said to call him. Tier 1, 5 months. All right, where do these months keep going? 5 months already? Let's go. Yeah, I hear you, man. How is it 5 months already? It's crazy. It's crazy awesome though. But so I appreciate it, man. How you doing? Andre P99. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. So anyways, I don't mean to like all of my venting in the very beginning wasn't really venting. Like that's just, it comes with the territory. You guys know it. It comes with the territory of tech. It comes with the territory of doing something new, something different. Something indifferent. So it just comes with the territory. So I wasn't trying to complain or like put Windows down or Linux down. I was just airing some of my grievances because I want to get this right. Hey, Grease the Monkey, resub, Prime, 2 months, 1 month streak. Thank you so much. Sorry, I promise I'm not picking my nose. I just got this like itch that won't go away, and it's a scratch. I'm not picking, but it's just like itching. I think it's time to shave again. I think that's what my mustache is telling me. Because, I haven't shaved since the time I shaved off my whole entire face. So anyways, if you heard me rambling, don't take that as I'm not putting Windows down. Like, it's easy to kick Windows, and for some people it's easy to kick Linux too, or vice versa. It's easy to put Windows or Linux up on a pedestal. Both have their challenges. Both are awesome in their own way. So anyways, I hope I can get it working. I did realize though, after dual booting my system to Linux again, that I am so close. I am so close to be able to do most of my stuff on Linux. We just have to tell GoXLR, hey, develop a Linux driver for their system, and then tell Stream Deck, hey, develop a Linux driver for your for my Stream Deck. They're probably like, yeah, I'll get right on that. And then I think I'll be golden. Like, I had my my NVIDIA driver up and going. I can access the CUDA cores. It was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. Anyways, so I'll stop babbling about that. But how are you guys doing? What are you guys working on? It's Tuesday, so I know it's you guys probably had a long day at work, or maybe you're just starting work, depending where you are in the world, or maybe you're not working right now, or maybe you have the day off. Let me know. Let's see here. Stream Hive, Phantom Way. Hey, how's it going? It's always DNA. Yeah, it is. No, it's always DNS, isn't it? Yes, it is. Cloud Bedrock. Hey, how's it going? Haven't seen you yet. No, I think I saw you on Saturday. If not, it was last Tuesday. Shivam. Hey, thank you for the sub. Tier 1, thank you so much. Appreciate it. My lights are working. It's a good day. If my lights are working, like, I cannot complain about a thing. Because that was it was a huge undertaking. Yeah, thank you guys too in the beginning for helping me troubleshoot my audio, giving me feedback really quick. I know that I felt like I was fumbling. If you ever do anything live and something goes wrong, like your normal instincts like go out the window, and all of the things you think you would do in that situation are just gone, because I think nerves and everything else plays in. And so I'm like, looking at my microphone, I'm like, why isn't it playing? Like, this should play. It's set to microphone. Like, there's no reason why it shouldn't. And what was happening was, long story, GoXLR creates this new audio input called, I forget what it's called. I should remember it. But they create this new audio device called StreamMix or something like that. And that should be your microphone. And so I'm like, what? Like, I haven't had to touch it for so long. It's been so stable. But anyways. Inkfaust, hey, how's it going? Good morning. Kuroi Kage-san, hey, good morning. How are you? You can hear the music. Yeah, thank you. I'm going to get through these because you guys are helping me out there. Let's see here. Hey, Takano, how's it going, man? Good to see you. Reading your Lima Charlie in Detroit. Reading you Lima Charlie in Detroit. Thank you so much. Captain Tidbit, wow. Last time I was this early, I don't remember the last time I was this early. That's how I feel. That's how I feel when it's, 7:01 here local, or 3:10, on a Saturday. I'm like, oh, geez. Craven, yeah, man, how's it going? Good audio levels. Yeah, let me know if it's not good anymore. I'm getting through some of the early comments because I know they were just, you guys were helping me out, so I appreciate that. Let's see. Home Avenue, currently assembling my standing desk. Yeah, man, we were talking about that in Discord earlier. I hope it's everything you wished for. I don't mean to oversell, standing desk. I mean, I'm standing right now, and I love them because and again, I don't stand all day. I don't sit all day. I just try not to do too much of one thing, and so I think changing positions in general is good. Standing all day isn't good. Like every Saturday after a stream, I stand for 3-4 hours just straight, and not even moving around, just standing still. When I'm done, I basically, my wife knows, I go downstairs and I'm like, hey, how's it going? And I just like lay down on my stomach because I don't know, just something about my back after standing for so long. It just does not agree. I mean, if I'm walking and doing stuff, it's obviously fine. But anyways, long story short, I'm excited for you and for your desk. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. Shivam, nice. TLG game? The timing, yeah. Shivam, got a P400 for my Plex. All right, time to do some transcoding. Let's go. Havo, in responding to your title, I've been working on my PC part list. All right, you read the title too. Stream titles. All right, they work sometimes. Awesome. What are you building a PC for? Like, what's its main purpose? What are you thinking about? Captain Tidbit, Let me adjust one more thing, because I know why I keep peaking. It's because my headphones aren't loud enough for me to realize that I'm talking too loud. And now that's a little bit better for me, at least. Captain Tidbit, debating on whether to put all my network stuff under another router so I can finally get started with FreeNAS. Wait, let's break this down. Debating on whether or not to put all my network stuff under another router so I can finally get started with FreeNAS. Tell me more about that. Do you mean just under a different network so you can segment your traffic and keep that traffic separate? Tell me more about that. Tell me more about that. Home Lab New, I think we can guess the future video. Yeah, which one? The new Windows 10? Not that one, because you'll see me like, it's not bad. I promise it's not bad. And obviously it's a developer preview. It's on the ultra fast ring. And I forgot that they put these little stamps. I can show you. I forgot that they put these little stamps on here. I'll show you real quick. You know, they put these little stamps down here, and I haven't seen this forever. Like, you see this if you have an authorized copy or you're on a developer preview or a preview in general. So I forgot all about that. It's been a while. Usually I'm used to one that says Windows is not activated down there. You guys know what I'm talking about. But yeah, it's not bad, just different. How about that? It's one of my favorite quotes or favorite questions a developer used to ask me when I was on a team with them. Anytime someone would complain, or I wouldn't say complain, but raise any kind of concern, his question always back was, well, is it wrong or is it different? And that, I think, I've taken that with me. Jeremy, he's probably not watching, but I have to stop all the time and ask myself that question a lot. And I think that's a great question ever to ask yourself in the future if you're ever like, what the heck? Because that's what I was like with Windows 10. And I was like, is it wrong or is it different? I'm like, it's different. Okay, I can settle down a little bit. So anyways, remember that one. Is it wrong or is it different? Because it'll help you out a lot in the future, I think. And it's a great question to ask yourself, especially in tech, especially if you're a software developer and you do code reviews. That's where it used to come up all the time. Is it wrong or different? Anyways, but Win 10 is insane. Yeah, TLJ game. Yeah, it is. I think it's awesome. I mean, I know people are, you guys know. I run Windows, Mac, Linux, you name it. I run it all. BSD too. I get as part of FreeNAS, but I don't know much about it. Unix-like, but I have a different tool for different jobs, and I love them and despise them all the same. They all have their quirks. For sure. Shivam, I got a new Wi-Fi 6 router, AX5400. Not that good. Having issue. Sometimes dropping the internet. That's not good. Yeah, I don't know much about Wi-Fi 6 other than it's the new hotness in wireless, and I assume it's more bandwidth, probably, all the things about wireless that you would expect. I don't have any Wi-Fi 6 stuff. I see it a lot. I see it a lot in the headlines. I don't have anything yet. I would love to know more about it. Or maybe if I ever upgrade this access point, I'll go to Wi-Fi 6. But that stinks. Sometimes dropping wireless. That is not fun. That is not fun for sure. Mine have been pretty rock solid. Anytime something happens to the internet, it's my fault. It's my fault. It's nothing. The hardware, software. It's always me. PC Geek. I bet Chris Titus will find a way to turn stuff off. Yeah. Navigator Nomad looks like a new one, but I don't want more built-in features. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. I mean, I could kind of show you. I'm not going to give you a tour of this developer preview, but that's kind of how I feel about this little new weather bar down here. I was like, oh, that's cool. The weather, it's 11 degrees in Minneapolis. Oh wait, now I have news. How do I get rid of news? Maybe I'll hide this story from NBC. Okay. Oh wait, now it's MSNBC. Okay, hide this story from MSNBC. Like right now, from what I see, there's like absolutely no way to get rid of these headlines and this card and everything. It's funny. It's like they took the start menu from over here and then just jammed it over here. So how the start menu used to have like all the tiles and all the information and all the stuff, live tiles and all that. It's like, okay, didn't work out so well over there, so we're gonna put it over here. Well, I just want the weather there. So anyways, I'm gonna turn that all off. I'm gonna turn it all off and figure it out. So, but I haven't been paying attention to OS stuff because I've been trying to get something to work. It's pretty cool. And right before the stream, I finally compiled this thing I've been trying to compile for 3 days. And being a JavaScript developer, I don't have to worry about compiling. All the errors I get are at runtime, and that's that could be good or bad. So I'm used to debugging, in the browser and things not compiling, just, transpiling, obviously. But finding my bugs at runtime, and no, I'm compiling some C++, and I forget, like when I used to do C#, it's just like, when you compile stuff, you just cross your fingers, you're like, please compile. And as soon as it does, you're like, yes, because you can't even like see what you're doing until it's done compiling. So anyways, been compiling some stuff, and I needed newer features from Windows 10 to do it. But I agree. I mean, I don't need a ton of new features in Windows 10. Give me real features. I don't need any live connected data things that are going to send me notifications about things in the news. Like if I want to find the news, I find the news. Don't put it in front of my face. But thank you for the hype. You see level 2 hype train emote. Hopefully I can share it now because I just got to it. There it goes. Thank you so much. Emoji keyboard is the best addition. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, good call. I forgot. So I was talking to Discord about how to insert emojis earlier, and that's when I realized Windows 10 now has an emoji keyboard. They always have. If you can do it now, you can do it right in. If you click inside the message and you hold down the Windows key and push period, you'll open up the emoji keyboard. But the new one on Windows 10 actually has GIFs built in. So Windows 10 is feeling very app-like. And so you can pick memes and GIFs now within that keyboard too. So pretty cool. Yeah, good call. It's funny. I saw that the other day and I'm like, I'm not ready for GIFs yet. I see it out of the corner of my eye. I'll do that later. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty cool for sure. I like the way that they're going. Even if there aren't features that I won't personally use. They're trying stuff, they're experimenting, they're moving forward. Some may live on, some may not, but that's part of building products, and especially building software. You build, you test, you collect, you iterate, and you keep steering the ship gradually, iterate, and release. So, hey, and as long as they're making progress, I'm cool with that. Even if I don't use the new features, it means someone there cares about something. Captain Tidbit, level 1 text Wendell would like to access your location. Yeah, I would give him my location. I would give Wendell my location and be like, come here. I have lots of questions. I would love to talk to him for just even a little bit. He just seems like such a nice guy. He seems to know so much, and I know so little when I watch his stuff. But I learn so much. I mean, that's part of the reason why I watch the channel. I mean, there's lots of reasons why I watch level 1 text and level 1 Linux. I learned so much, but I also enjoy the personalities on there. So, I loot 9.8k channel points. I want 10k. Yeah, Takano was saying I should add another reward. So you let me know what I should do as another reward for channel points. Obviously, I have some seems to me low hanging fruit. 1,000 channel points. You can change the lights in my room. I mean, that's for 1,000 points. You're sending messages through the internet into my house. I thought that was I thought that was okay, but Scano, he's not impressed anymore. And Ilude, Ilude's got 10,000. He's like, I got points to burn. So let me know if there's something else you'd like to see with channel points. Let me know. If it involves code and something in my house that you can see here, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. And if it won't fit into a chat message or I don't see it, put it in Discord. Because as long as it's not anything too crazy, I think PC Geek recommended some kind of chaos monkey that does something within my home network. That sounds super fun for you, but not for me. Because my network and my home lab isn't that robust yet. I mean, I could throw something into Kubernetes to kill a pod, but I mean, you guys wouldn't even know on the stream unless it was the pod that the bot's running on. Because the bot in this channel is running in my Kubernetes cluster. Home Lab New, you're absolutely right about Linux. It's massively. Oh, there were two. I inflated the massively behind in the desktop, but I still love it for a terminal. I 100% agree. 100% agree. And for desktop, it was pretty enjoyable. Again, I had to ask myself, is this wrong or is it different? And I'm like, oh, it's different. Scroll's a little bit slower, scroll's a little bit smoother, and terminal's not as big, and just different. And so, but installing it, I had 3 monitors. Went 2 portrait, 1 landscape, got them all configured, like 0 problems. And I was like, last night I was just thinking, like, if only my Go XLR would work. Like, I could deal without my Stream Deck for, not forever, but as I work on videos, it would be cool if I could just like, okay, well, I'm going to record this one on Linux instead of always just using WSL. Like, WSL gets me a lot of the way there. But as you guys know, WSL is just a terminal. I mean, it's not a terminal, but you're getting the Windows subsystem for Linux, but you can only do terminal things. Well, what happens if I want to launch something from the GUI in Linux? And I think some of these things, I can't remember if they're coming with WSL 2 or not, but I basically want Linux with all of my hardware running on it natively, that being my NVIDIA GPU. So I can do some stuff in Linux, some ML, some AI, some stuff like that, and not in Windows. And so anyways, maybe I thought on WSL 2 soon they were going to start providing a desktop version, because that seems really cool. That's like totally going to Inception, where instead of passing through hardware from Linux to a Windows machine, then it's kind of the other way. Then you're passing hardware through from a Windows to a Linux machine. And that seems kind of cool for me, because then it's like, if I wanted to launch Ubuntu full screen desktop, have access to my GPU, that'd be sweet. That'd be sweet. That'd be good enough for me to do some of my demos and to run some of my code that needs Linux or something Linux-like, and needs a Linux GUI environment too. But yeah, it's we're so close. We are so close. JJ Van the man. JJ Van the man. Hey, hi, found your channel because I was setting up Proxmox on a quad node server. Oh man, you skipped 2 and went right to 4, man. Hopefully it's going well. I'm also planning to set up Kubernetes too. Awesome, man. Man, you are well on your way to a super robust system, wherever you're running it. But man, quad. 4 systems, that's awesome. Well, I hope it works out, and I hope you get high availability running. I'm sure you're going after that if you're setting up 4. Hope it works out well for you. Let's see here. Soberbot. Yo, Techno Tim, what's up? Well, how's it going, Soberbot? It's a bot. I don't think it's a real person, but what's up? I'll say it anyways. AppSumo, what's up? I do think these are bots. I'm gonna have to screen them. I need my own captcha for bots. Next time, anyways, I'll set up some bot protection via my own bot. But anyways, I won't tell you my algorithm to do it because I'm already figuring it out in my head. I might tell me if you ask. Easton, doing well, just preparing for a new semester that starts next week. Hope you're well. Yeah, I'm doing super good, super busy, as you probably are. New semester next week. Well, enjoy the rest of your week. Take it easy. Because then, back to reality, at least for you. Well, at least college reality, which is a very different reality than the other reality. So enjoy it while you can, for sure. Onk, just finished up a Proxmox server build from scratch inspired by your videos. Hey, awesome. It's my first Xeon. Nice. With 128 gigs of ECC RAM, quite a beast. Yeah, it sounds like a beast. Like, if you have 128 gigs of RAM, that means you probably have CPUs to match. So like you said, Xeons, awesome. Sigor, hey, how's it going? Palace Media. I'm not gonna call you Payas Media. I want to call you Payas Media, but I'll call you. He told me it's Palace, like Dallas. So hey, how's it going? Good to see you again. PC Geek, I hate those itches. Yeah, banana. Hey, you're testing my bot for sure. So thank you. No, that's there we go. Soberbot, why is the tip of your nose a little white? I don't know. Do I have the? Yeah, my lights are probably too bright. So that proves you're not a bot. Well, only if you answer one of my questions. Is Soberbot really a bot? No, if he answers that, he's not a bot. Gobsmacked. Thoughts on low code? What do you mean about low code? I don't know. Am I in the dark? What's low code? I don't know. Like a kickmack. Wait, I'm out of here. Techno's You guys are killing me with these puns. I turned my lights up a little bit more. It's a little bit brighter on my face. I don't know what I was doing, but like I said, I was doing all kinds of stuff. I'm getting some glare here. I should probably turn it down. Probably lighting. There, thank you. Here, let me adjust it. This is actually pretty cool. So I have these lights where I can adjust them right from here. Is that a little bit better? Is that like, I don't know. My face is extra shiny today too. I had to moisturize today. It's kind of dry. Maybe that's a little bit better. I don't know. Let me know. You're not a bot, silver bot. Yeah, all right. So you passed. Well, thank you. Thanks for letting me know the lights are kind of bright. Like I said, I had to make so many adjustments after the Windows stuff that I did. Appreciate it. I'm all in with Pop! OS over Mac and PC now. It's a tri-boot system, so I can always fall back if I need be, but I love Linux for my daily driver. Yeah, I for sure. Like I would love it for my daily driver too. So for my day job, I would love it. I would love it. I mean, I spend most of my time in VS Code, in a terminal, and Chrome. That's 99%. Well, in Slack and Discord, but that's 99% of what I do all day. And so, yeah, I would love it for my daily driver. Every now and then I have to compile some stuff in Xcode, but yeah, I would love it. Yeah, I kind of wish I could during the day. But I'm probably going to rattle off some excuses, but yeah, I would love it. I don't know which flavor I would pick. I might go with Ubuntu. I know that Pop! OS, I think, is based on, I don't know if it's based on Ubuntu or Debian, but they're all based off Debian anyways. So if I said that, I'd probably be right, because somewhere down the tree or down the line it is, but that's awesome. I spun on Pop! OS once. I love the UX. Like I love that kind of that retro feel and the colors and stuff like that. I didn't get into it too much after that, but definitely awesome. Gobsmack, low code, less developers required in the world now. Wait, low code, less developers required in the world now. Oh, you got to fill me in on what this means. Got to fill me in on what that means. Included null, I really want to try Pop! OS on my work PC. Yeah. Dual booted or boot from a USB if you can. If you don't have, encryption, well, I think you could get by if you had encryption on, as long as you don't write anything to disk or access anything from the disk. Yeah, do a live boot, see if it'll work. Why so? Oh, I got to get this right. Why Soko? That's what I'm going with. I'm really stuck on this problem for class, and I was wondering if I can get some help on it. Sure, let's try to figure this out. What's the problem you're having? Yeah, what's the problem you have? The tile manager is spectacular. I'm sure I could have gotten to work on Ubuntu, but it is smooth as butter. Nice. Palace Media, doing good. Still planning out my home lab server. I think I'm gonna go with 6 500 gig SSDs for my R710 Proxmox server. Man, that's exactly what I ran. I did that same thing. So when I bought my R710, if you bought yours fully pieced out, probably came with some 3 terabyte drives. I think that's what a lot of people who refurbish them put in them. And I had 6 of those. And yeah, the first thing I did was put in solid states. I did end up running a hardware RAID for a long time, and I know, with Proxmox you can get ZFS, but I didn't have a hardware RAID that or HBA controller or what am I trying to say? A drive controller that supported direct access to the disks or HBA. And I couldn't reflash it into IT mode. So I was just like, okay, what am I going to do? Go back to, spinning Rust or SSDs? And, for a while, for all of its life, my 710 was only to run virtual machines, like no storage. You saw I have my disk array that was down below. So it was only virtual machines. And I was just like, well, I'm just going to do, RAID 10 on hardware RAID on this Dell PERC, I think 7. And ran it from there, and it worked out fine. But I went the same way, and like 500 gig SSDs are they're super affordable now. Even 1 terabyte ones are pretty affordable. If you're buying 1 or 2, if you're buying 6, it gets pretty pricey. But yeah, that is awesome. So I assume you're running Palace Media, lots of virtual machines on there. I assume that's why you're using all SSDs. Otherwise, yeah, what do you got running on there? I want to know. Love to. Shivam, how's everything going? Good. AppSumo. All right, running Pop! OS for the past month or so while stuck in the UK. Had to do a fresh install as soon as I arrived, but it's been solid ever since. Nice. AppSumo. Yeah, that is awesome. I should check it out. Like I have just plain old Ubuntu 2004 LTS now as a dual boot. I should check out Pop! OS. Because, you know, as much as I love Ubuntu, I love Ubuntu server. Like I have like zero complaints about that. There are some complaints I could make about Ubuntu desktop, just the desktop environment. Just, you know, it's not what I'm used to. So it's, you know, it's different. And, you know, I'm kind of, you know, the color scheme, and I'm not a huge, well, I guess I shouldn't say I'm not a huge color or UX person, because I do build front ends, but, you know, I'm just not into the whole, like I like the pinkish side of the purple and orange, but not like the real, like this, like the maroonish, reddish type. And I don't know, I know I could theme my terminal and go all crazy, but again, I'm just, you know, just pointing out things that are different. But I should try Pop! OS for sure. Shivam, hey Tim, how's it going? Yeah, hope you're safe, man. Yeah, I've been pretty safe so far. I've been hanging in there, pretty safe. We'll see if we can all get this vaccine soon. We'll see. Pretty good. Got a root canal done. So this is from SoberBot. And the docs here are going to give me my volume apparently. Ooh, root canal. Ooh, I don't even want to think about that. Jeez, man. Hope you're okay. Hope you're all right. Captain Tidbit, any recommendations for standing desk chairs? The butt hurt is real. Yeah, the butt hurt is real. Yeah, I do. And I recommended one to HomeLab New. I don't know if he got exactly the one that I got. I forget the band. It's like Rising Up or something, you know, some brand that illustrates standing or sounds like it. But it's Rising Up or Standing Up. I don't know, something like that. But if you go into my hardware, whatever, down there, you can find I have a whole thing on standing desks or standing desk conversion type stuff, and it's in there. And I didn't go with a whole desk, mainly because I have this IKEA piece of wood here. And I kind of wanted to reuse it, and at the time, you know, standing desks everywhere were kind of sold out. So I ended up buying just the legs that you attach to a piece of wood, and I'm so glad I did, because now I can attach these to any piece of wood that I want. So if I want a different tabletop besides this, you know, $99 piece of IKEA wood, although it's really awesome, I can. So I find a nice tabletop I just attached to this. So just get some wood screws, drill it right in. Yeah, but yeah, butter is real. I agree. And it's good to just move around. And again, I'm not saying like, I don't stand all day, you know, I might stand a couple hours out of the day, but it's just a nice change of pace. But you know, sometimes I stand up, 10 seconds later, I'm like, what was I thinking? I'm sitting back down. But I think even just doing it, and I made a change mentally too, when I work, to say, hey, if I'm in a meeting, I'm going to stand up. And so for me, it's really easy then to say like, okay, I'm in a meeting, I'm going to stand up. And when I'm not in the meeting afterwards, I'll sit back down. Not that I have that many meetings every day, but it was an easy way. It's just a reminder. Okay, well, I don't need a reminder on my watch or on my desktop or mobile device or anything. It's, hey, when I have a meeting, I do it. So, and then, you know, during a stand-up, every morning I stand up. And that's kind of what started it. It was like, well, I'm going to stand up because I would if I were there physically. But now that we're not, I was just like, well, okay, I'll stand up here. And then it just turned to every meeting. So anyways, it helps move things along faster too, I think, when you stand. And I think that's part of standing up too, the act of doing a stand-up or morning stand-up too. SoberBot, Parsec or Moonlight for remote gaming? Ooh, that's a tough one. You know, I don't have a ton of experience with both. I can only tell you about what I hear. I hear people are super happy with Parsec. Haven't done it myself. My extent of remote gaming was one, just setting it up and trying it over RDP just to make sure that I was actually accessing my GPU. It worked. And then two, Steam in-home streaming from a virtual machine, which they do a pretty good job and they have decent codecs, and that works. But I haven't tried Parsec or Moonlight. I mean, they're both super popular. I think, I hear tons of great things about Parsec. I mean, Moonlight too, but I hear about Parsec more. Not saying it's better. Just in my circle, it seems to be more popular. Palace Media recently got a P400 for the same reason. All right, yeah, Plex transcoding for sure. Oddwiz, just got the Plex server off Unraid into a Docker container. Nice. Now I have free AMD Opteron full of possibilities. Nice. Yeah. Awesome. So yeah, you do have a ton of possibilities now, for sure. And now you're running Docker. And so if this is your first like Docker container outside of maybe Unraid, it opens a ton of possibilities to learn more about Docker too, for sure. California, how late am I? LOL, not too late, because I'm always late too, so don't worry. Don't worry, you're here, that's all that matters. I started about 15 minutes ago, thank you. Inkfaust. Oh yeah, you guys are redeeming lights, thank you. Yeah, thanks for earning those points and thanks for spending them too. If you have them, spend them. I highly recommend spending them. Really easy, you just stay in the channel for, I don't know, an hour? I don't even know if it's an hour. I should totally just try to check how many points per hour, just to see, because I have no idea. But anyways, some people earn them at a higher rate, depending on, I think, I don't know. And Twitch dynamically adjusts the points too, so I could not tell you how long it takes to earn 1,000 points, but I don't think too long, because I see the lights changing quite a bit. Let's see, Soberbot, Wi-Fi 6 is what everybody is fapping about now. Yeah, I see it in the headlines, and that's all I'll say. I don't know anyone personally who has upgraded it yet, or upgraded their access points yet. I think it's like any new tech. There will be early adopters. There will be early adopters who get it just because it's new tech. There will be early adopters who get it because they need the new tech. And then there will be people like me who are like, do I really need it? How do I know when I need it? I guess I shouldn't say that because I adopt some new tech often. But when it comes to wireless, for me, it's binary, even though I know it's not. For me, it works or doesn't work. And with my new access points and everything, it's been pretty binary. It's a, yes or no. And I haven't had any throughput issues. So for me, and you don't know how many devices I have in my house. If you look at my access point, I can't even believe, or my DHCP scope. I think I'm well over 60 devices in this house, maybe 70 that have IP addresses. I'm not saying they're all over wireless, but probably about half of those are connected to my access point, my one access point here. And I have another access point that's in the garage. That's a wireless bridge, that's transferring two 1080p camera streams the whole time. So, I don't have Wi-Fi 6 and it's pretty good, and I still get to 300-400 megabits per second over wireless. So anyways, I don't know. I don't know what to get. I'm assuming more bandwidth and MIMO for sure. PC Geek, I have the Super Micro 1U server on the way. Nice. Oh, that's the one you posted in Discord. For only $80, no CPU and RAM. Have 2 extra CPUs you can put it in. Nice, man. Yeah, 1U is pretty fun. A lot of people question my choice on 1U. If you look at my video, there's people, it's very polarizing. Just like my UniFi stuff, very polarizing. And I get it. There's a lot of people who have a lot of experience who either, didn't choose it for a particular reason, or chose it because of a particular reason, or they're just defending their architecture choices, or product choices, or brand choices. Like, I get it. And I love it. I love it that people are passionate about those things. I mean, it's like, why do you, follow sports or root for a team? It's because you like that team or you like that brand, or why do you buy a certain brand? Like, I totally get it. But a lot of people are just like, oh, 1U, why would you ever do that? I feel like I have to defend my choices a lot. And I'm like, did you see anything that I said in the first 3 lines of the description of why I got it? Anyways, I'm excited for your 1U server. It's super awesome. I know that people will say it's going to be loud, but for me, it's not as loud as what I replaced it with, which is Dell R710. And if you have one, that's not that loud. If once you're past the BIOS post, it's obvious it's not that loud, honestly. And so my 1U servers, my Super Micro ones, are quieter than that. Yet it's a different pitch from the fans, because they're smaller fans. But yeah, I'm excited for you. It's super awesome. Yeah. I could go on all day about my 1U servers because I'm after I did it, I was so glad I did it. And I ended up getting 2, and people ask sometimes, why did you get 2? Why didn't you just get 1 2U? And it's like, well, I wanted to separate up my workloads and all this, all that. But some people are just like, nope, 2U's the only, that's the smallest I'll ever get. And well, it doesn't work for me. The nice part about getting 2 1Us for me was like if my workload ever changes, I can sell one of my 1Us, and then go down to 1U. But I don't see that happening anytime soon, just because I have some redundancy set up. California 909. We must find new ways to collect telemetry. Tell me about it. Yeah. Funny you say that. Let me grab a drink. Funny you say that, because when I went to the new developer dev preview of Windows 10, I keep wanting to call it the fast ring, but that's what it used to be. But when I went to the developer ring of the preview program, they were basically like, you have to turn on all telemetry. And I was like, not gonna do that. Nope, I'll see what the bare minimum is I can get away with, And I ended up, I figured out what I could and couldn't turn off. But at the end of the day, I was just like, I hope Pi-hole's blocking all this stuff anyways, and one of the top domains blocked by Pi-hole is like telemetry.microsoft.com or something like that. So hopefully they're using that domain to send that data, because like even if I turned it on, it's going into a black hole that is Pi-hole. So anyways, I'm not against collecting analytics and stuff like that, but I don't know. And especially if I'm opting into some preview thing, they want to collect some metrics against it and see what's going wrong or see what's going right. But I was just like, oh, really? I got to opt into all this just because I want one feature out of the new Windows 10? All right, I guess so. I mean, sometimes you got to make those decisions. I mean, it's like the carrot and the stick, It's like, you want this thing, you got to go for it. And that's kind of what I felt with the developer preview. Hey, Danny Hatcher. Danny Hatcher and Elka was taken. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. But yeah, I agree. New data they can collect by showing me these news articles within the new, I don't even know what it is, the Windows card bar thing. They call them cards now too, and not tiles. So I was like, okay, going with an industry standard term now. Shivam, when it works great. I have 1 gigabit connection. Nice. If it works, it gives me 800 megabits on my phone. That's a lot. That's a lot for your phone to even be able to transfer. So awesome. HomeLab new. Have you ever worked with K3S or K3OS? Yeah, I've done a little bit with K3S. Yeah. Been having trouble with Rancher in Docker, so I'm trying to start a functional, complete, but basic Kubernetes environmental grasp. Let me go back. I'm trying to start with a functional, complete, but basic Kubernetes environment, grasp the fundamentals. I think I can understand your sentiment from there, but yeah, I've done a bunch of K3S. We've been going back and forth, I think, in Discord, and I can't remember if you were setting up the Docker version of Rancher or going with K3S and then installing Rancher on top of that. But yeah, I've done a ton of stuff with K3S. I've done zero with K3OS. I've done stuff before with Rancher OS, and I think the sentiment is kind of the same. A distribution of Linux built specifically to run containers for you. And that's a fantastic idea. There's a little bit of work up front, and it's kind of challenging to get going because you have to do a bunch of cloud init stuff. Because I think the whole entire or most of the OS is immutable, which is totally fine, and that's awesome. But in order to make you can't make any changes in the beginning, so you have to bootstrap it with stuff from like a cloud init drive or something like that. To give it an SSH key and give it all these secrets that it can use to run and then run your containers. Obviously, it's going to store state somewhere about your Kubernetes somewhere. Haven't dug into it. But the initial bootstrapping is kind of tough. But I haven't done a ton with it, because while I get it, like those operating systems are, fine-tuned for running containers and specifically running Kubernetes and containers. And they're very hardened, right? And that's probably something you're going after, being in security. For me, I'm erring on the side of manageability, and for me, it's a little bit harder, to manage something like K3OS or Rancher OS, or name your OS that's designed only to run containers. Now, that's probably something that I could work through, right? And figure out how to manage these like any other operating system, or manage them like a Kubernetes operator or something else, someone else in operations, but I'm not a huge operations person. I know how to, most of my servers are Ubuntu. I know how to back them up. I know the ins and outs. I know where the landmines are. And I have a certain way that I back things up and assign IP addresses, SSH keys, like all those things about your Linux servers now at home. You can't apply to an operating system like that because you can't do much to it. So anyways, it's there. Haven't done much with it. I'd like to at some point, but for now, it's easier for me to manage the server that runs my containers, just like any of my other servers that are Linux. So yeah, but I'm not saying it's a bad thing. It's just different. And we go back to that. Is it wrong or is it different? And in this case, it's different. It's really different, and it's different enough to where I felt like it was kind of a little abrasive. So I was like, all right, I'll figure that out later. I just need to get Kubernetes running, and Ubuntu's a supported one. Dude, TLG Game gifted 5 tier 1 subs. Dude, thank you so much. Wow, man, thank you so much. Oh my god. You're gonna hear Link in my 8-bit music for a minute. Dude, thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Let's see. He gifted 5 subs. Murgath, The Legend Never Dies, Such Why Mr. Alan Molson, and Kessor 6. Hey, go ahead and thank TLG Game for your gifted sub. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Wow. Thank you. PC Geek, that one you will be for my disk shelf to run TrueNAS. All right. Yeah, I like where you're going with that. Yeah, I keep telling myself, don't buy a physical machine, to do what you're doing. I really want to, and you're starting to convince me towards that. But that's awesome, man. Yeah, that'll be super nice for sure with your disk shelf too. Captain Tidbit, FreeNAS thing. Sorry for a bad explanation. That's okay. Last time I was here, I was trying to figure out how to use one of my machines, R2, as a bridge to get to my FreeNAS box onto my network. But I haven't been able to fiddle with it. I have 2 routers laying around. I could use R2 to get to the internet into the router, and then use the router as kind of a switch to my main PC 3 and 4. Yeah. And a work laptop could be on the work network together, but the rest of the house can't see my stuff. I think I remember this conversation. Are you on Google Wi-Fi or something like that, and like something's natted or something to do with like you can't reassign your IP address? Yeah, that sounds super complicated. Thankfully, I've never had to do anything like that, like double NAT or something like that. Let me know. I mean, you just explain your situation, but let me know the problem. I'm sure there are people in here that can definitely lend a hand for sure. Sigor, time for the old Windows debloat script to get updated. Yeah, good luck on this next one. Good luck on this next one. Yeah, we'll see. Soberbot, I can't post anything to your Discord server. Sorry. Soberbot, if you're trying to post something, there's some rules you need to read, and then you need a thumbs up or plus or hit an emoji to get in. But just read. Spend 30 seconds and read. That's probably all it is. And I don't mean that facetiously. I know there's a lot of stuff there, and I'm going to see how I can make it better. Discord has a new thing, to let people in when they read the rules. I haven't decided yet if I'm going to go with that or stick with the current solution. But anyways, go to the bottom, give a rocket ship or thumbs up if you read the rules. Then you'll see everything there. And then you should see all the channels. There are a lot of channels. HomeLab New, how much are you wanting to spend? Oh, you're talking to Captain Tidbit. You can get a shockingly good network for not as much as you'd expect via eBay. Heck yeah, you can. Palace Media. I'm C# JavaScript developer, so I feel you there. Yeah, man. Oh yeah. I mean, that's exactly what I did. I started out VB, C Sharp, and then yeah, went to JavaScript. So yeah, for sure. Yeah, when I went to JavaScript, I was like, oh, I hate that JavaScript doesn't compile. How do you know that things are broken, And now I'm like, when I have to go back to compile stuff, I'm just like, oh, why aren't you compiling? Why can't this be a runtime error? It's different. Shivam, I have a tagline for coders out there. Blank people bug, we debug. There's some hashes over that, so I can't read it. But yeah, Captain Tidbit. I don't need anything fancy. I just need to be on the same network as the rest of my stuff. I've considered a bridge, but this would be a good band-aid solution until I can expand my space. All right. California. iLoot is my hero. Yeah, mine too. Jake a Lake. I like it a lot. Hey Tim, just stumbled across your tutorial on Metal B traffic on Rancher. Wish you made that video a year ago. Hey, I wish I understood what it did a year ago too. Yeah, it's tough. I mean, it's tough to teach, and it's kind of tough to demo. It's like when I'm talking at people, telling people, that's what videos are. Me talking at you, because obviously you can't ask any questions. That's what this is for. It's kind of hard to grasp some of the concepts, so it's tough. But and you guys know this, and I say this in Discord a lot. But the way I separate in my head is, hey, Metal LB is like a load balancer IP that you would get in the cloud, right? It's an IP address from a cloud provider saying, hey, here's your access to the internet, not your NAT, but here's how people come into the internet to you through this load balancer. And then traffic is just a reverse proxy like Nginx or like anything else that's going to take, these requests and send them to the correct service based on, host name or whatever rules you set up. And so, yeah, it's tough. Sorry it wasn't there a year ago. It's only been there for about 6 months, but yeah. So I'm glad you made it here though, Jake Lake. Tummy Tums. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. How you doing? Home Lab New. What about 2 UniFi APs? I think I got you covered there. Can they work to create a wireless bridge to the rest of the network? The network isn't UniFi. You'd probably also want to switch on the other end of the bridge to connect to your FreeNAS machine too. Yeah, I like where you're going, Home Lab New. Yeah, I like where you're going. If you do, I heard that's a Midwest thing. If you do, I'm going to say do again because it doesn't make sense if you don't. If you end up doing a wireless bridge between 2 UniFi APs and you have a second port, I think on the AC Pros, the only thing you'll have to worry about is that port is a management port, so it's all like untagged traffic, and you can't configure a VLAN for it, but that might be what you want, just something to pay attention to. That's something I didn't know until I did it, and I was like, oof, now I need to put something again behind this, another switch or a router to tag this traffic to get VLANs again. So that's a little loophole there. And I don't know if that's a feature or a bug, but it definitely works with untagged traffic if you have a second port there. I think it's a feature, but I wish I could tag that traffic because that would save me putting a router behind the other side of my bridge. Let's see. Sober about. Oh, work now. All right. Awesome. California. I switched to Manjaro for a desktop, and I love it. Nice. Yeah, I hear lots of good things about Manjaro. A guy I used to sit next to used to tell me all about Manjaro. He and his brother run different Linux distributions, and he would tell me, the differences between the two. But yeah, for sure. Yeah, I haven't done anything in Manjaro yet. I hear a lot of good things about Manjaro and Arch, and those are two I have zero experience with. PC Gook, hope everyone is staying safe out there. Yeah, for sure, man. California, 909. Cali has a GUI on WSL. Don't know it's working for everything else. Nice. I didn't know they had a GUI for WSL. See, that opens some possibilities, especially what I'm on now, because there are some interesting things that Microsoft has exposed to WSL or for WSL. In the next version of Windows, and that's kind of why I went down this path, because they expose more things through WSL2 than they did before, which, yeah, I totally had to jump ship and go to WSL2. But then I realized I can run 2 versions of WSL, one in WSL1 for all my, I don't even want to say legacy, all my current web development stuff, and then run another Linux Ubuntu machine in WSL and WSL2 for all the new test stuff I'm doing. So that was cool too. Revisiting this, I don't have to mass migrate all my stuff from 1 to 2. I can leave one old WSL Linux on one and take the other 2. It's so complicated. I don't know why I get into this stuff, but I love it. HomeLab new, I think someone makes a proprietary X server for Windows that integrates with WSL to launch Windows GUI applications. Nice. Yeah, nice. Can't remember where I read that. That's totally all right. That's me every day. Jake Lake had a question about using Cloudflare and how to interpret the readout of the cert in a browser. It almost looks like Cloudflare is issuing the cert. Can you comment on that? Is there a setting I need to have to see the cert, whether it's being issued by Let's Encrypt? Yeah. So I have some experience with this. I assume you're talking about the traffic stuff that you were talking about earlier. Yeah, and so there's a way that I can help you figure out if you're getting protected by both. So you already set up traffic. You've set up Let's Encrypt. Let's Encrypt and traffic together are getting certificates for your services, right? And you exposed it through MetaLB. And then at the same time, you're using Cloudflare for your DNS. And then Cloudflare, you probably have SSL turned on there, right? And so now you have SSL, you have double SSL, and so totally fine. You have SSL from Cloudflare because people from the internet are proxying through that Cloudflare SSL all the way down to you. And then you have, also have SSL from your service going through that as well. And so there's an easy way to tell, and there's an easy way to test this too. One, if you're going from internally, right? So if you're doing this internally, what you can do is add a local DNS entry and don't go through the internet and don't do, I forget what it's called, NAT traversal, I don't know, NAT reflection. Don't do NAT reflection. Go from the inside, create a local DNS entry and point it directly at your MetaLB as your host name of that service. So if it's example.com, create a local DNS entry that's example.com and then point that directly to your MetaLB IP, and then that will get the traffic. And then you'll see your Let's Encrypt cert, right? Because you're not going through Cloudflare. Then the other way I test it is go to the outside, use a different device, a mobile device, and maybe mobile data, and share it with your desktop, laptop, whatever, and then go through the public internet in. And if you go through the public internet in, then you'll see that you have the SSL from Cloudflare. So those are 2 ways I do it. And, I was worried about that same thing too. I'm like, well, do I really have SSL turned on? Every time I go and try to resolve this host name, I end up seeing Cloudflares. And then I was like, oh yeah, well, I'll just do this internally with DNS and then circumvent Cloudflare. Anyways, that should help. That should help for sure. Dream traveling. Would you set up a Raspberry Pi for home labbing and sysops testing? Yeah, why not? I mean, sure. I mean, it depends on the workloads you're going to run on those devices. But yeah, my progression always is, start with a virtual machine if you can on your own machine. And then if you need physical hardware, my next logical step is, go with the Raspberry Pi if you have one. If you don't, they're pretty cheap. Then my next logical step is use an old PC and then, and then it just goes on from there. So I would, for sysops and home labbing, it really depends on your workloads though. Raspberry Pis are great for a ton of stuff, a variety of things, I'll say that, right? But it depends on those workloads and how many of those workloads you're going to be running on a Raspberry Pi. So, if you're running Plex, I'll flat out say probably not the best workload for a Raspberry Pi. Haven't tried it, but just knowing what Plex doesn't seem like a good fit for a Raspberry Pi. Maybe it does if you just never ever transcode, maybe not. But if you're doing things like, web servers, websites, like very low things, even Pi-hole or anything like that, yeah, go for it. But it depends on your workload. Tell me more. But I think that's always it's an easy move. It's a cheap, way to start testing some stuff out. But the free way, the almost free way is, spin up VirtualBox on the machine you're on now. I mean, Network Chuck just released a video on something about you should learn virtual machines right now, And I think he talked about VirtualBox in there, and that's something that I always suggest too. Is like, hey, if you don't have a home lab or money for a home lab, but you have a PC or whatever, name your device that has a processor that can do virtualization. Run it on VirtualBox and do your testing in there. And then it's totally isolated. You don't need to muck up your own machine. And you might get more performance out of that than a Raspberry Pi. The downside is you can have host-based networking, obviously, but you're not going to leave that machine on 24/7 to do those tasks. I have done that before. When I was doing some virtual machine migration, I ran VirtualBox on one machine because it was running some Linux servers inside a virtual machine along with everything else for Windows it was doing while I did some migrations. Totally worked fine. I only had to do it for a week, but it got me by. If you use host-based networking, then you get an IP address from the network that you're on, totally fine. So anyways, tell me more about what you want to do and maybe I can make some recommendations. But yeah, it's always a good first step. Raspberry Pi for sure. But start with your own machine with a virtual machine because you'd be surprised on how far you can get with that. And then you get cool things like snapshots, backups, NAT, whatever you want, and probably a little more performance too than a Pi. But if you need something that's always running 24/7, yeah, go with that for sure. It's a good first step. Acme pulls the cert from Let's Encrypt. Yeah, for sure. Yui Nucker. Do you have any information on getting API calls from Kubernetes into Proxmox to spin up new nodes? That's a good question. No, I don't. So you want API calls from Kubernetes into Proxmox to spin up new nodes? No, I don't. So you basically want to you want to horizontally scale, right? So you want to maybe monitor your Kubernetes environment and say, hey, once I reach a certain threshold, go ahead and spin up another virtual machine and scale it out and then auto join it to my cluster. I don't have anything like that, but that sounds super awesome. So no, I mean, Proxmox's API is pretty well documented. And I think iLoot and the PC Geek, they both done stuff with some Proxmox automation. Maybe they can share, but you're probably looking for API calls. Like, I don't know if you're looking for REST calls or what. But it would totally be doable. But you're going to have to script out each piece, right? Because it's not just like you make an API call to Proxmox and say, yeah, spin up another node. He's going to be like, huh, what? So you're going to have to think about each piece of that automation individually. Obviously, you're going to have to know when Kubernetes needs more resources, and then you're going to have to go ahead and know how to call into Proxmox, and then you're going to have to tell Proxmox to spin up a machine, maybe that you have a template with or a clone with, right? And then that machine's going to have to know how to join your Kubernetes cluster. So there are a lot of pieces in there individually you have to figure out. I wish there was an easy way to just say, yeah, add another node. But I think if you figure out all of those pieces individually and get those working, the last call for an API call is probably the easiest part. So the part you want to know might be the easiest part. And maybe you've done all the hard work already. And I'm just babbling. It's probably the case. But I don't. It sounds awesome. But Proxmox has a pretty well documented API. And I think a lot of Proxmox's API is the way that you access it is right from your Proxmox dashboard. I think in the help there, I think they always show the latest documentation for Proxmox. It might be in there, the API stuff. Oddwis, speaking of multiple nodes, Proxmox configs. Any links to guide me to cloning my first Proxmox machine on a second machine? Yeah. I don't have anything. Yeah, I don't personally, but I know a lot of people have done stuff like that before. And I have a cluster set up, but it's only a cluster of 2 and it's not shared storage. It's really just for migrating stuff back and forth or having nodes running. It's easy, it's just easy migration for me. But yeah, and I have templates set up, and when I clone them, I can choose which node they run on. But yeah, I mean, I can ping you with something later, but my setup isn't, you know, it isn't like yours. I think you're going with 4 nodes. It should be kind of the same. But yeah, it's, you know, anytime you clone a new machine, it's going to ask you the target, as long as they're part of the same cluster. Silverbot, what the heck, dude? I'm a person. All right, Silverbot, I got you, man. I got you. I know you are now. Anytime you see bot in the name, though, yeah, you got to question it, right? You got to say, hey, is this a real person? But I know you're a real person. Ankh. Cloudflare issues their own certs, I believe. You can generate certs locally using Cloudflare DNS, but it's probably not what you're asking. No. Bleep blob. Sigor, yeah. Silverbot. You even tried to pronounce my Indian name. Oh, that's right. That's right. That is right. That is right. So why? So I think we're past that now. I'm getting caught up on comments. PC Geek, yes, it appears from the logs I'm getting cert issued, but when I look at the browser, it's coming from Cloudflare. I think I answered this all already. So yeah, I mean, if you don't want a proxy through Cloudflare, you can turn the SSL proxy off. Then you'll see your real cert, because you're really having like a double. You're tunneling through Cloudflare, and then through their proxy with an SSL to your service that also has SSL. So if you want to test it, you could test it one of the 2 ways I mentioned earlier, or just turn it off temporarily and give it a shot. Hey, Jews to go. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. How you doing? Welcome. I'm not about Silverbot. Keeps saying I'm not about. I know. I'm getting caught up. Let's see. Oh man, Ilu, did my Discord command work? I did that change, I think, late last night. Hopefully it did. No, that was 2 nights ago, but PC Geek tested it. Thank you. I think so. Jake Lake, I think you're right, PC Geek. Depending on the settings from Cloudflare, I can get to the browser to be happy, so I sad with my cert. Yeah. Ankh, Techno Tim, yep, Pop OS is Debian, Ubuntu derivative. All right, so they both have the same parent. Yeah, parent. I was gonna say grandfather. I was kind of hoping it was a grandfather OS, but no. Same lineage, back to Debian. Let's see, Sigor. Oh wait, Galactic Avenger. So why not just Debian? Yeah, I know. That's true. It's just the release cycle is so long. I get it, it's stable, but it's so long. So if you want newer tools, at least for me and some of the development stuff I do, it's like, yeah, a lot of the tools that I use now are just like Ubuntu LTS, 1804 or 2004. And I'm like, okay, and maybe some older version of Debian, but then that leads me down a path of really old dependencies there too. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's a good question. Why don't I? I don't know. I just got used to Ubuntu. I've been on Ubuntu since like 404 or something. That was, I think, the first time I tried it. Sigor, just my 2 cents, but I highly recommend Arco Linux. Okay, it's Arch based and has a nice GUI installer, and the creator is always posting videos on YouTube about updates and tweaks. I think I've seen that account on YouTube that does that. Yeah, I'll have to check it out for sure. Sigor, you can add as much or as little as you want, and the AR is awesome. That's what I heard about Arch too. It's like you got to spend a lot of time configuring it because like you get nothing but like a windowing system or something too. I don't know. I should try it. Silverbot, any recommendations for alternatives to Proxmox? Also something that uses libvirt KVM underneath. Yeah, that's a tough one. I think PC Geek's got you there. But yeah, anything. Yeah, Virt Manager, our virtual machine manager on Arch Linux. Manjaro or bust. Yeah. Captain Tidbit, Ubuntu Light Perk. When? Hey, yeah, I like this. That's maybe what my theme should be, like Windows, Ubuntu Linux, and just use their theme back there instead of ones that I've come up with. I'll just use the brand colors and you guys can fight over the OS. Oh yeah, I love it. That's good. Let's see. So I'm guessing Overt, Vasimo. I have a GitLab runner in my home lab. Should it be set up with SSL to be safe? Yeah, good question. Yeah. Yeah. So, I have, I mean, you know this, and maybe some other folks don't, but your GitLab runner really is kind of a stateless machine, right? It uses a Docker image from GitLab, and it connects to, I think, a WebSocket from GitLab.com and listens for new jobs. So you really don't even need any endpoint coming in at all, because it's reaching out to GitLab, connecting to a WebSocket and saying, hey, I'm here. It's not doing anything other than listening. Right, and so when GitLab in CI, if you use GitLab in the cloud, when it has a job to do, it'll say, hey, we got a job for you. That WebSocket is listening, job comes down, and so then that virtual machine says, okay, I have work to do, and I'll start working. I don't know where the SSL piece would come in, only because like when you register that runner with GitLab service, I think they use HTTPS anyways. So let me know. But yeah, I mean, the answer is yes. If anytime you're like, should I use SSL? The answer is yes. Internal, external, whatever. The answer is always yes. Unless you absolutely have a reason where you can't, and then you should really consider what you're going to be putting through that pipe, because it's easily, anything can listen to it. But I think in GitLab, I mean, especially on the GitLab runners, when they connect to that WebSocket to GitLab service, it's all over SSL, unless I'm misunderstanding something. But I just set up another runner last week. Yeah, and that's all you do. Bootstrap it, point it to gitlab.com, and give it a token, and it's ready to work. I love it. Hey, add some gaming. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Thank you so much. Let me see. Palace Media. We'll be running something similar to what you did, several VMs, with things like Docker, K8s, database server, Nextcloud, Minecraft, and more. Nice, yeah, it sounds very familiar. Not sure which things I'll have in Docker and which will be VMs. Yeah, totally fine. And I love that you're taking a step back to make that consideration, a lot of times I'll admit I've shoehorned things into Docker just to make them work in Docker. And it wasn't just proof of concept. For me, it was more, one, it was a challenge to see, can I containerize this whole thing and make it mostly stateless? And two, it was, it fit into my infrastructure better. So I'm super glad that you're taking a step back and saying, hey, should I containerize this or should I virtualize this? And the answer always isn't, hey, there's a container for it, you should do and use a container. That's not always the right answer, because you may not want to support containers for this certain thing, or you may not want it to be in Kubernetes, or whatever the reason is. So I appreciate that you're saying you're taking a step back and deciding on which will be a VM and which will not. You know my answer, but I do appreciate that you're doing that evaluation. TLJ game. What do you need to buy from Cloudflare in order to get and accept the Let's Encrypt? You don't have to buy anything. You don't have to buy anything. So, Let's Encrypt will do DNS for you for free. And if they do DNS for you, then you can use their proxy for SSL, and then you get a certificate from them for free. I always set my services up with SSL anyways, if they're publicly exposed. And so you'll get one if you set one up. If we're talking about self-hosting one, you should set that up yourself to get one. I don't rely on Let's Encrypt's certificate. It's just kind of I don't rely on Cloudflare's certificate that I get through their proxy for choosing them for DNS. It's nice that they offer it, but I never depend on that. I get my own from Let's Encrypt and I make sure it's working. So I advise you to do the same. I mean, yes, it's gonna have to wrap your head around how that works, making sure it's working, make sure it's renewing. But at the end of the day, you'll have something super robust that's just always gonna work. And so if you move to the next DNS provider, Google, whoever, and whoever your new name server is, they may not offer that service, and you could just think, well, I'm covered because I got my own certs. So yeah, but you don't need to buy anything. You don't need to buy anything from Cloudflare, especially to get Let's Encrypt, because Let's Encrypt is free certificates for all. You just got to verify you own the domain, one of a couple ways. So yeah, hopefully that answers your question. Jake Lake, you don't need to buy anything. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, exactly. You don't need to buy anything. Yep, and Cloudflare gives you a lot of API access too. Yeah, I use them. I use them for quite a bit of stuff. Yeah, and I use their API for dynamic DNS, and so that's how I get dynamic DNS too. So there's a nice Docker container. It's by, I'm going to say it right this time, Osnu. No. It's either Anzu or Osnu, and I forget it every time. But I'm going to go with Osnu. I'm going to go with that, and I'm probably wrong. But it's the same person who makes the Docker container for Guacamole. Well, he also made dynamic DNS containers for Cloudflare, and it's super easy. You spin up a Docker image, you give it your API token, you give it your account name, and boom, you got dynamic DNS. And obviously you give it a domain name too, so it knows which one to update. But there's a combination of, hey, Cloudflare offers, API access, and there's this open source Docker container that can update stuff at Cloudflare, and the two come together and you get dynamic DNS for free. And then if you do that, and then obviously you have to have your DNS with Cloudflare, then you get other perks too, like SSL, which we were talking about earlier. Yeah, it's super cool stuff. PC Geek, or no, the Soberbot, actually prefer not using a UI, but I'm not sure if libvirt and QEMU, you guys are figuring out the alternative stuff. Thank you. Soberbot, I might have to use something like Proxmox. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I mean, I won't say, everyone has their own reasons for using whatever hypervisor or any piece of software you want. But I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good. I enjoy it for sure. You guys can tell. PC Geek, you get more points depending on what sub-tier, and if you are here and click the bonuses when they appear too. Yeah, that's something I forgot about. Yeah, there's bonus points that appear sometimes. And also I have some kind of rate sliding turned on. So Twitch decides, how many points to give out, I think, depending on how many viewers there are. I don't know. They have some algorithm that's basically like base the points on the viewers. And I was like, yeah, why not? Sliding scale? Sure, go for it. Because then it's, it's another variable to throw in there. So yeah, there's a couple pieces to it for sure. Jake, like, hey, see ya. Thanks for coming in, man. Appreciate it. Let's see. Palace Media. I think the router from my ISP is Wi-Fi 6. My house doesn't have any Ethernet connections running to any of the rooms, so I'm completely wireless, and so far no issues. I like it, man. 100% wireless. That's awesome. That is awesome. I've been 100% wireless at work for, now I work from home, but I'm still 100% wireless here when I work. But at my last 2 jobs, locations, guess I should say, I've been 100% wireless. And at first, when you make that transition, you're just kind of like, but I need an Ethernet cable, and what about this, and what about that? Well, when I went to this other larger company, they're just like, nope, here's your MacBook, and here's your monitors. I was like, let's do this, and I never thought twice about it. Obviously, you're gonna have some problems, but arguably, at large corporations, I've had, problems with plugging in Ethernet cables too, or them always working. But yeah, it's kind of scary till you do it. Now now at home is next level. At home is next level, because like, what do you do for all your devices? You just connect them to your ISP's wireless. That's where I kind of get So I think this is, yeah. I would, if you can, yeah. I would probably stand up a repeater or something. I don't know, or a client and did something. I don't know. You have to let me know how that works out. If you have like internet from a provider that's 100% wireless, what if I have, 52 IoT devices, what do you do then? that's kind of, yeah. But anyways, yeah, that's crazy. Hopefully they give you your own SSID or something, but then again, I'm not even sure. I don't know who your provider is, but that's pretty crazy. Tony6. SM1U, make a good pfSense boxes. Recently built a kick-ass router. All right, yeah, nice, man, nice. Shivam, no noise, no gain. If you are server lover, yeah, that's right. No noise, no gain. I like it. Yeah, it's funny because if I stand really still in downstairs on the main level, I can hear the servers in the basement. So every now and then I'll just stand real still and I'm like, yeah, they're still running. But I know what you mean. But I want to kind of keep the noise down as much as I can, but they're nowhere near silent. Nowhere near silent. I would totally record a video with them on once, but like, you know how it is when you like record a video of a noise and then you listen to your headphones, it's like way louder than it normally would be. So I could use a decibel meter, but sometimes that doesn't translate well. Let's see, PC Geek, you can script a lot with Proxmox. If you ask either John or Ilud in the Discord server, they have some scripts. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, they do. They do. Ilud has scripted a ton, so is John for sure. Sigor, Is it just my ear, or is the Mario following sound from Fez? I don't know. I hope it's not from Fez. Not because I don't like Fez. Fez is an awesome game. But because I got a sound pack from some company who said it was, original stuff. So I hope not. Hopefully there's some nostalgia. There should be a lot of nostalgia there. But they should be original alerts, not from games, because I might get in trouble then, 10 Boss. Proxmox has a great CLI. There are tons of examples. Google Proxmox CLI. There you go. Yes, that's what I'm talking about. Sigor, nope, I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, the Mario 8-bit following sound. I know what you mean. Hopefully it's not though. Hopefully it shouldn't be. I actually got it from, Nerd or Die. Well, Nerd or Die bought, I think Nerd or Die bought a company that created these, but it's from Nerd or Die. You can buy it now. Why so? I'm having trouble with a program that counts how many times the number 7 occurs in numbers that are the power of 2. Oh yeah, that's a tough one. How many times the number 7 occurs? Yeah, in the power of 2. So you have to extrapolate all the power of 2s, however high you want to go, and then check each one. Just do an index of 7. That's what I would do. And if it's greater than -1, it appears in there. Anyways, I don't know what your coding challenge is, but I'm starting to figure it out already. Lo said, what up? Lo said, what up? Well, I say, what up? Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. It sounds like a lot of counting. Yeah, I totally agree. Totally agree too. But I would totally just go to the, 2 to the power of whatever. And then all of those results, if they're in an array or whatever they're in, put them in an array and then do a for each on the array. And then each element in that array, do an index of 7. And then if that's greater than -1, that means it's there. And then add those all up. But then you might have to dedupe, right? Because you might run into something where 7 appears twice in one number. And depending on if you want to count that twice or not. But yeah, there's a lot of ways you can do it. Sounds like a fun problem. Let's see, Captain Tidbit, FreeNAS thing. I'm gonna draw a diagram and put in Discord. All right, I love diagrams. My diagrams are usually pretty bad, so there is no shame in drawing diagrams. You guys draw some awesome diagrams. I get out paint and I first copy a diagram that kind of looks close, and then I just draw red or pink all over it. I'm watching Tim on my home TV. Had to log in on my phone to write this. Oh, thank you. Appreciate it. Welcome. Or hello, the legends never die household. Hope you're doing well. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Ankh, my new Proxmox cluster suffers from a slight jitter of sorts where SSH connections stutter a bit, lag, and the nodes flicker online, offline for a sec. I've been diving deep into the forums, but thus far, I haven't figured out the root cause. That sounds like a tough one. So your cluster suffers from a slight jitter. That one's tough. I can probably rattle off a couple of things to check, but I've never had anything like that. It could be something as simple as network connectivity. There's a couple things you can do. You could just ping that and log it out forever and see if you ever get a hiccup, to try to determine if it's something, with a NIC or if it's something internal. That's a tough one to track down. You'll have to let me know. But first I would check network, check the easy things from the outside in, and then work your way into the harder stuff. Sometimes I overlook the easiest things. Sometimes NIC, network, the port it's plugged into, the cord it's plugged into, especially when you're saying, SSH connections can stutter. The SSH connections will try to recover, or when packets take too long, they'll eventually get through. I only really see them totally terminate if you really get disconnected. So the fact that they stutter to me says something with network connectivity. I don't know, but ping that machine. See what your lag time is over time. And while you're doing stuff in SSH, see if it goes up. Looney 80. Got all excited with Proxmox and installed and configured the GPU pass-through and everything. turns out Valorant, the main game I play, doesn't run on VMs. Feels bad, man. Yeah, you got to watch out for that. You know, some games, wrongly or rightly, will block or ban you from a game if you run them in a virtual machine. And I get it, because you can do bad things with virtual machines, or you can do things that people can't normally do if they're running the game on their main machine. I mean, arguably, if it's a PC game, you could almost do the same kinds of things. But yeah, that stinks. Yeah, you got to watch that with games. And some games won't tell you. Some games won't tell you. Some games will just ban you. That's what I've heard. But, you know, I don't, the only gaming I've done through my virtual machine, you know, has been, you know, Steam in-home streaming. Now, I think it's called remote play. But I haven't really like remoted into a machine and played a game for a while. I mean, during my demos and stuff I do, but not for long periods of time, because this machine that's right here in front of me is more than capable of playing those games. But yeah, you got to be careful. Got to be careful. If it's a game you like, you might want to watch out too, because like I said, they could just ban you, which would not be good. Hey, Genius Sugarfield. I'm gonna go with Genius Sugarfield. There's a lot going on in there. Hey, thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Looney, great channel, great work. Got hooked up the first day I found it. Keep it going. Hey, thank you. Awesome. And that's awesome that you got Proxmox and GPU pass-through going and just same day. Because, you know, a lot of people struggle with that because there's a lot of steps involved. I struggled with it too. I mean, I've set it up 4 or 5 times. This last time I did it, I thought, yeah, I don't need my own guide. I got this. Yeah, no, I ended up spending a lot of time because I forgot one checkbox. And if I would have just looked at my config from the previous one, I would have realized that, hey, I'm missing this flag, which was, I don't know, pass through the PCI device on the GPU part, which is easy to overlook because it's in the advanced section when you configure it in the UI, but hard to overlook if you look at the config file because it's actually, you know, set to false or true. Anyways, I'm rambling, but yeah, thanks for being here. Included null. Yeah, a lot of anti-cheats will block the game from launching. I think it's in your VM. Yeah, for sure. I'm curious how they know though. You know, I'm always curious how they figure it out. Obviously, it might be documented somewhere. The rest of the stuff they're not going to tell you because then you'll try to circumvent that. But I'm always curious how they know. Like, if your NVIDIA driver doesn't think it's virtualized, then the machine doesn't think it's virtualized. How does the game know it's virtualized? That's what I want to know. And it's, you know, not that I want to circumvent it, but it's pretty interesting. Windows doesn't always know it's virtualized though. Windows doesn't always know that it's virtualized. Registry flag, yeah. But I mean, but if you can circumvent NVIDIA and get past the error 43, which is the infamous error code you get when NVIDIA realizes it's virtualized, I feel like you can do anything at that point. I feel like you can do anything at that point, you know? But yeah, it's interesting, but be careful. That's nice that they warned you ahead of time. They're probably tired of banning and unbanning people for them accidentally doing it. But yeah, for sure. Tum-tums. Love to see another software developer. All right, yeah, I am. That's what I do all day. It doesn't seem like that by my videos, but you know, like home lab and server stuff and infrastructure is just like my hobby. So it's super fun. And you know, and people ever ask like, oh man, you do tech at work and you know, tech at home and then tech on YouTube. Don't you get tired of it? I'm like, no, there's so many different aspects to it. So yeah, I'm a software developer. All day, write lots of code. It's probably pretty mediocre. Some of you may have used a lot of my code that I wrote because I work for companies that built things, bigger companies, and yeah. But yeah, that's what I do during the day. I work for a small startup now. We do awesome things, I think, and yeah, this is what I do at home and for fun is home lab and server stuff and networking and home security and gaming and you name it. Let's see here. Seagawar, with it being SSH, do you have a second? Hey! Mastermind! Hey, how's it going? 53 Mastermind. How are you doing today, man? Just saw you on Twitter. Well, earlier today. How are you doing? Welcome, everyone from, is that Mastermind? Is this the same Mastermind? It has to be. Mastermind IO, it's gotta be. How you doing, man? Hey, yo, how's it going, man? Thanks for the raid, appreciate it, man. How's it going? How was your stream? Assume you just got done. 53 people from Mastermind. Welcome. I hope you learned something. Hope he taught you something you didn't know. I always see your tweets about DevOps, system engineer stuff. I saw one earlier today. I can't tell you exactly what it said, but I did see it. I think it had 3 hearts or 3 bullet points. I should stop trying to remember tweets. I can't remember what I did like 10 minutes ago, and I'm trying to remember a tweet I read this morning, or maybe it was last night. Anyways, man, dude, thanks for the host or the raid. Really appreciate it. Well, the raid, and then I think that turns to host. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all the follows. If you're new here, I'm Tim. I go by Techno Tim. It's a long story behind my name. I do a lot of stuff on technology. I'm a software developer by day. During nights and weekends and for fun, I do a lot of home lab or server or system engineering or infrastructure type stuff. But I'm a software developer. I write lots of code. The things you're seeing all appearing and happening in the channel are code I wrote. It's I run Kubernetes at home. It's running in my basement. The bot that's in the channel is actually running in Kubernetes. I have lights in here that are connected to APIs I wrote that are also running in Kubernetes. If you stick around long enough and earn 1,000 points, you can change the lights in my room. And if you ask nicely, there's probably someone in here with 10K points that could change it for you, just saying. But anyways, so I appreciate it. Welcome. There's a lot of follows in here, so thank you so much. Hope Mastermind stream is great. I enjoy tuning in when I can, and I appreciate you passing on the love. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Let's see here. Oh my gosh, my screen just jumped. Onk. I did. I nick-teamed those 2 together. I could try undoing that on the second node. Sadly, I only have 1 port. Let's see. Let's find this. There's so much going on. I really appreciate it. I will definitely try to call these all out when they calm down. I think my bot and Stream Elements is probably trying to catch up. They're probably like, whoa, that guy just had like 20 follows. But thank you. I really appreciate it. Actually, I think it's slowed down, but I'll give it a second. Hey, Lacaicito. I hope I can pronounce this right. LD Kaisido. Hey, thanks for the sub. Really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And thanks for the follow. I saw it right there, so I'll call it out real quick. Man, Mastermind, dude, thanks for the raid. Gear Shift, thanks for the follow. Merkia, thanks for the follow. Stone Cold Stream Aaron. I like it. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Absolute. That's a tough one. Absolutely. I'm going with that. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Kids Saw Legend. And Casito. I'm struggling here because my glasses don't reach that far when they're this small. Nitro Sage. Mace FPS. Dude, thank you guys so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Welcome to my channel if you haven't been here before, but appreciate the follow, appreciate it. And again, Mastermind, thanks so much, dude. Appreciate it. Cat Max Shrubby. Okay, bye. Okay. Let me see. Let me get caught up on these comments because a lot happened. Onk. Anyone else use Nginx Proxy Manager? Yeah, I think PC Geek does. I've been using it on all my self-hosted apps for ages, and only now just realized you can request a wildcard domain via Cloudflare DNS verification. Nice. Yeah, I think PC Geek, he uses it a lot. And he calls it NPM. We all know there's only one NPM. But Node Proxy Manager, yeah, for sure. Like, it's great UI. You can get certificates really easy from Let's Encrypt. I didn't know I did DNS verification, but I'm familiar with the DNS challenge with Let's Encrypt. I do that for all my stuff too. So I can get wildcards now, which they added, I don't know, a year ago. Not NPM, but Let's Encrypt, maybe it was 2 years ago. But yeah, NPM looks nice. It has a great UI, looks fantastic. I think it has a MySQL backend, totally fine. I run MySQL at home. And I almost used it for my my existing load balancer, but I ended up not. But anyways, it's besides the point. It's a great product. PC Geek, he's a huge fan of it. And he always refers to it as NPM. And I'm like, what does this have to do with Node Package Manager? Inkfaust, are you Brave Verified Creator? It seems that I can tip you with BAT in the Brave browser. Funny you asked that, because I think I just turned that off the other day. Like, I got super excited about it, about Brave. I am. But I think I turned that connection off. I can't remember. I am. I don't I read about it, I was excited about it, and then there was this huge debate that came out about them and affiliate codes and all this other stuff. So I was like, I don't know if I need to be that connected to these systems. I don't really understand. Like, I thought it was like the next big thing, and maybe it is. I don't understand enough about it. Anyways, long story short, I don't remember if I kept my connection on or off for Twitch. If it's not on for Twitch, it's probably still on for YouTube. And if it's not on for both of those, it's probably still on for GitHub. But I need to do a little bit more research. Anyways, long story short, I don't remember which platforms I've enabled it for. And just the other day, I think I turned one off accidentally when I was going through my, doing my security review, which I usually do when I log into systems. Like, hey, go in the app section, see what my OAuth connections are, review them. If I don't recognize them or it hasn't accessed in a while, then I start to ask myself, do I really need it connected? And so Brave was one of those things, I think when I was in either Twitch or GitHub, where I was like, do I really need it connected here? I haven't used it in a while. Probably not. So I think I turned it off. Anyways, that's a long, cool story, bro. But I should be down there. You should be able to find me. Soberbot, the guy who asked for auto-scaling Kubernetes nodes, ping me. Yeah, that's what we were talking about earlier. I understand the process in my head. I've just never done it. So auto-scaling Kubernetes at home and auto-scaling with Proxmox sounds awesome. But I have so many nodes right now. I'd have to spin up like 400 pods before it was like, okay, let's request a new node. Because I think I'm running, 10, 11 nodes at home. But that's really because of my own doing, and I think John is kind of in the same boat. Salvarius, howdy folks. Didn't realize the stream was going. Figured Tim is about done. Yeah. It was a good question. I went a little bit longer than I thought I was going to, but hey, I appreciate being here, and time's really flown by. Nope, I was wrong. Captain Tibbet, FreeNAS thing. Hey. So Tom Rex? I'm sorry, I apologize. Let me know how to pronounce your name, but thank you so much for the follow. I appreciate it. Dread Deadsta. I think I announced that one, but thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate it. Welcome. Ansem Gaming. Do you know PvE? Somehow I manage VM won't boot. Looking at my disk SSD. Your SSD got wiped. Oh man. Me too, Nub. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Man, people really like this Hawaiian theme. I need to tweak it a little bit. There's not enough blue and orange in the middle. I'll get it. But yeah, I know PEVE. I have no idea. I have no idea why your SSD got wiped. I mean, that's not good. And it explains why your virtual machine wouldn't boot. I don't know enough information. I do use PVE, so I use Proxmox a ton. I have 2 clusters. I've ran, I built it probably 20 times over the last 2 years. Most of it was my own doing, or my own doing wrong many of the times. But yeah, I use it a lot. But Adam, yeah, I don't know enough about it. Let me know what's going on. Just flat out wiping your disk doesn't sound normal or fun. So I don't envy you. PC Geek, unless you overpull certs from Let's Encrypt like Tim did, you get blocked. Yeah, I did. So when I was spinning up a new Kubernetes cluster, I had traffic going. And traffic is, for those that don't know, it's a reverse proxy. And from there, I configured Let's Encrypt. And from there, I had it pointing at the production URL, because why wouldn't you point it at the production URL when you're testing, you know? So anyways, but I thought I was pretty well protected. I was like, hey, when it gets certs, I'll see them in the logs, you know, and I'll be a good citizen. If I see it pull my certs, I won't pull it anymore. So anyways, long story short, if you're doing anything with Let's Encrypt, no matter how sure you are that you have your process down, that you're gonna get your certs, that they are getting preserved. If you're doing it in Docker or Kubernetes, make sure they are truly getting written to disk from your persistent volume, or however you're doing storage. Make sure it's getting written to disk before you spin up that container again and run and pull and possibly exceed your quota. And that's exactly what I did. So I exceeded my quota on Let's Encrypt. And I had to wait about 5 days before I could get my real production certs, which kind of stunk because I was in the middle of a migration. So then I had to move, some of my pods back that had certs on my old Kubernetes cluster run them from there and run this crazy. I had to rewrite firewall rules, send things in 2 different places for 2 different things. Anyways, long story short, always point to the staging URL until you are 100% sure. Like switch from staging to production. Make that be the last thing in your deployment and not like the second or third thing. Make sure that's last because you don't want to exceed. Hey, you don't want to exceed that your quota because it's a hard lockout and there's nothing they can do about it. And then also save your old certificates because your old certificates are they're still good, especially if you're migrating because it wasn't within the 30 days where it starts auto upgrading. So save your old certs too. Hey, TBD Gamer, dude, hosted, rated. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Welcome people from I got to get this right. TBD, to be determined gamer. Hey, thanks for the follow. How was the stream? Let me know how you doing. Yeah, how's it going? Thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Thanks for hosting me. Thanks for the raid. Appreciate it. But yeah, anyways, long story short, point to staging. Have that be the very last thing you do in any migration or anything you're doing. And if you truly don't need those certs yet, or you're going to spin up like 5, 6, 7 services and you're doing this all through Kubernetes, don't test prod on the first one. Make sure you get them all going and then test it on the last one. That was my takeaway. But next migration, I'll probably still go after production right away because I know this stuff, right? Don't we all? Holy Boba. Hey, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Welcome. Holy Merc. For the guy having issues with Proxmox in Valorant, try changing the CPU settings to host and install QEMU. All right, Holy Merc's on it. He's on it. He's like, how can I circumvent this? I like it. Windows knows it's virtualized. I believe there's a registry key. I thought, because of the CPU status. He's on it. Oh, yeah, because it'll look at CPU type, exactly what we were talking about in Discord today. Like when Holy Merc said use host, and I was like, I probably wouldn't. But yeah, actually you would. And the more I read about it, I was like, yeah, you should probably use host unless you have a reason not to. And I thought it was the other way around. And the reason why that Proxmox says to use the KVM CPU type, the default one, is because they're afraid that you might migrate these to some other virtualization platform that has a different CPU at some point in time. Like that's ever going to happen at home. So anyways, Holy Merc, yeah, thanks for that tip today. Thanks for challenging me on that one. And I did some reading and you're absolutely right, man. Yeah, go host unless you have a reason not to. And I thought it was the other way around. So, and full circle. Now it comes up in stream because someone was talking about playing Valorant from a virtual machine. And I was asking how do these game systems detect that this machine is being virtualized if NVIDIA can't even detect that it's being virtualized? And yeah, it might be the CPU type. I like it. I thought I had to change the CPU type to even get the video card to even work. Anyways, anti-cheat. Yeah, anti-cheat. Yeah, I still want to know how did they know? Oh my gosh, there were so many comments in here. What are some good recommended resources for learning Kubernetes? LD Kaisido. So I'm just getting into your comment. Oh, geez, some good resources. This one's tough. I mean, it depends on how you learn. If you learn by reading, I mean, Kubernetes itself is pretty good. It's pretty well documented. It's kind of dense, but if you're more of a doer, so you want to try it yourself, there are lots of good resources to spin up Kubernetes on your own, and it's not as scary or as challenging as you think. I use something called K3S. K3S is a lightweight version of Kubernetes. It's built by a company, I guess, called Rancher, but it's open source. And K3S, you can spin it up on x86, so you can spin it up on your PC, on your Mac, or whatever processor type you want, as well as the Raspberry Pi, so you can get started really easy. And so if you're a learn by do, I recommend checking out, something like K3S. If you're a learn by read, there's probably great books out there. I don't know any off the top of my head. If you're a learn by watch, I'm sorry I say this like this because my grandma's Japanese and she would always say learn by do, or she just spoke broken English. So sometimes I use that when I talk about. But anyways, but if you're a learn by watch, Jeff Geerling, I mean, he has some great content. So if you want really in-depth content and you want a good step-by-step guide, and you just want to kind of maybe kick back, listen, and really think and dive deep into topic, topics, Jeff Geerling on YouTube's got a lot of good stuff. And if you need some help along the way and you're a learn by doing, I've got some mediocre videos on that too. But it just depends. You know, if you want to learn concepts and you're used to like an instructor-led type discussion, Jeff Geerling's got a lot of great stuff. I mean, he's got fantastic stuff. Not only on Kubernetes, but on Ansible and a lot of other things too. But yeah, I mean, there's tons of resources out there. Mastermind's another good one. You know, I mean, there's tons of stuff. There's so much stuff that's out there that's free. I think all you got to do is look. You know, on Google or whatever your search engine is going to feed you the most popular stuff. And most of the time that's going to be pretty okay. But, you know, those would be my personal recommendations. You know, I learned by doing. I was just like one day, you know, I'm a software developer. One day I'm writing software and they're like, okay, if you want CI, you got to kind of learn Kubernetes and you got to learn Docker, you know? And I was like, I want CI, but I don't want to learn that. And I, you know, I was kind of, you know, not that I didn't want to learn, but I was just like, oh my gosh, now I have to learn all this DevOps stuff. But I'm so glad I did. I'm so glad I did. And I think you will be too. Yeah, watch my videos. Mine are more for people who really, you know, just want to do something in the next hour, you know, rather than listen and watch and read. Mine are let's do this now on your machine and get this running. So mine are more tutorial based, I would say. You know, I don't spend a lot of time in theory. There's a lot of side comments. Most of them are just me battling, kind of like now, but a little more filtered and edited. But yeah, if you want a project to learn it, I got a decent one on K3S. But if you don't even know what K3S is, that's where, you know, I think there's some great resources out there. But yeah, anyways, yeah, that's awesome. Nitro Sage, what camera are you using? This is a Sony A6400. It's a Sony mirrorless camera. I got a decent lens on it. You know, it's something I picked up, I don't know, about a year ago when I decided that I was going to make some YouTube videos. So I was like, oh, I'll upgrade my camera a little bit. And I got 2 for 1 because I got a good camera to take some photos. And well, I got 4 for 1. I don't even know how many for 1s I got now. Definitely multi-purpose because, you know, I use it for Twitch, I use it for YouTube, I use it for Zoom during the day, you know, and then I use it for photography or personal stuff on the weekends or when we used to travel, way back then when we used to travel. So yeah, if you're interested, I have a gear link down there and it has, I have my whole entire kit of what I use for this stream and my YouTube stuff if you're interested in. PC Geek, yeah, Network Chuck, yeah, for sure, absolutely. I can't believe I just forgot about that one. But yeah, so Network Chuck has a lot of great stuff. Like all his whole entire series on You Should Learn Yada 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 right now are fantastic because they're usually about 10-15 minutes. They're to the point. They're super high octane like he is, which I enjoy because you know, it's hard for me to I could never match his energy. And so I enjoy watching people who are super high energy because I'm rarely like that. And I know when people are like that, they're really excited and passionate about their topic. So yeah, absolutely. Network Chuck, I think he has one like You Should Learn Kubernetes right now, which is great. Same with Docker. So if you've never done Docker, yeah, I mean, you might be able to skip straight to Kubernetes and just accept that, you know, you're going to be running containers in Kubernetes. And those containers may or may not be Docker. And you may not need to know those concepts anyways. But yeah, for sure. Thanks, PC Geek, for sure. Thanks for pointing that out. DVO. I don't know if you've been over this already, but do you have any issues starting up your Rancher cluster in Proxmox? I did the most basic installation, one Ubuntu VM for Rancher, another for all 3 roles, and it never finishes registering or provisioning. Yeah, I wish I knew the root cause for this, because this comes up every now and then. Oh my gosh. Hey, Moasser Sousa. Hey, thanks for the raid and the host. Appreciate it. Welcome. Those coming from I'm gonna mess this up. Moe? I don't know. I'm gonna go with Sousa. Thanks so much. Let me know how to pronounce your name. I appreciate it. Sorry, it's hard for me to pronounce, but let me know and I'd love to pronounce it correctly. But thank you and welcome. But DVO, going back to your original question, I really, hey, Marcelo, Dev Srez, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. DVO, I wish I knew the root cause to this, because this seems to come up often. And it comes up often enough that I think it might be a gap in my documentation. So probably not something you're doing wrong, something I probably explained wrong or did wrong, or did something that's not valid anymore. Hey, Moser Sousa. Hey, thanks for the follow, appreciate it. But Monka, as in, Mocha. All right, the coffee. All right, Mocha. There we go. Yeah, so much easier, Mocha. Thank you, Mocha. Thank you so much. Sorry, I totally slaughtered your name. Really appreciate it. Thanks for the host, for the followers. Thanks for trusting me with your stream and for hosting me. So I really appreciate it. So thank you. But DVO, I wish I knew the answer. So you're running a Rancher cluster on Proxmox, did the most basic installation, one Ubuntu VM for Rancher, another for all three roles, and it never finishes registering provisioning. So I assume you're doing the Docker install. You're not doing the K3s install, because that one usually goes without a hitch because you have to get Kubernetes running for the rest to even work. I mean, it all goes back to, how you registered that agent. And so I assume when you spin up a single node, it works fine. But when you add the additional roles, or I guess they're additional nodes, they're not additional roles, but when you add the additional nodes, they never finish. And this is the tough one. I mean, I'd have to see some more logs. I wish I knew the answer. This seems to come up a lot, but I will say that, make sure it works on the first one before you do three, because when you do the single node Rancher install, single node Docker install of Rancher, you basically are running the agent and the control plane on the same. And so that's why you have to install the agent, because it's doing both roles on the same thing. So just make sure that it works on the first one before you go out to the rest of them, and make sure that works. So yeah, I wish I had a better answer for you. Mace FPS, this is awesome. I'm listening to you and I feel I'm in over my head, which is a good thing. I'm learning PyTorch and how to build neural networks. I won't say I'm learning it, so that's where I feel where I'm in over my head. So don't worry about it, because I know exactly what you're talking about. And I started looking at PyTorch a couple of days ago, and so PyTorch is for building up your models. For machine learning, for I guess a neural network. And that's how I feel when I look at this stuff. I'm like, Jupyter notebooks, like PyTorch, like I feel so out of my element, and I'm just looking for things I even kind of recognize. And so don't worry about it. I feel the same way when I'm in topics I've never even looked at before. So, but yeah, Empirics, what tech projects are you working on? Full migration from ESXi to Proxmox. Wish me luck. Nice. Is this for enterprise or for home? I'm thinking for home, but if this is for enterprise, this is sounding really awesome. Not awesome for ESXi, but I mean just awesome in general. And seeing someone just move from something like that as established as ESXi is, over to something like Proxmox, because to me it feels so underground, even though it's not. Millions of people use it. It just feels it's not one of the big recognized names in virtualization, or at least not as big as ESXi for sure. DVO, I use the Rancher documentation for the installation. It's not your fault. Just seeing if you seen a common solution. No, not a common solution, but it definitely is a common problem. Like I hear this from people like, hey, I ran this. I let it run overnight and it never finishes. And that's where I'm like, I wish I could reproduce that, because I would be able to say, yep, I've done that. I know exactly what's going on. Here's the step to fix it. And even I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, I spun up another one. I'm like, oh my gosh, is maybe my documentation wrong? Is there something different in Rancher 2.5.3 or 4 or whatever they're on now? And it worked for me. And I'm like, oh, I want it to happen to me. So then I can say, yep, I've done it. Here's how you fix it. And then, just pass it on to everyone it happens to. Because you're not the first. I see it probably every couple days in our Discord. It's something like that happens. Penguin Airlines. Yeah, how you doing, man? Yeah, cheers, man. Oh yeah, pride cheers. That is a sweet emote. I love it. I love it. Oh, I need to scroll up. It jumped a little bit. Penguin Airlines should be able to type host Techno Tim. Yeah. Might need to be in your own channel. It does. Yeah. I've been there. Imperialix. Techno Tim. This is a home lab. Gear is outdated for ES6i7. I wanted to try something new. Oh yeah. Oh, your gear. See, this is one of the things. I see what you're saying. So basically, you want to try out ES6i7, but when you go there, they drop support for some hardware. I've been there. That was like my first foray away from ES6i. So I've done ES6i a lot at home. I think I had 4 and then 5. And each time they were dropping hardware support. Maybe it was hardware, maybe it was network cards, or it didn't support a Realtek NIC on this, board I had at home. And so I had to figure out ways to get that Realtek driver installed. And then 6, drop support for other things, or they have requirements for, they have certain requirements, and I get it. Like their business, they can't, support hardware that's 7, 5, 6, 2 years old, whatever the case may be. So I get it, they're a business, they don't want to put engineering and efforts into that, but it sucks when it happens to you. So I've been there. So that's interesting. So you wanted to go to 7, but you can't because they probably dropped support for some of your hardware. So you're going to try something new. I think you'll like it. I think you'll feel right at home. What will feel different is ZFS. Which it might be a good difference. So you'll have ZFS, which is a software RAID that gives you access to a ton of features. I will never do it justice, but just Google ZFS, and you can get a pretty high, really robust software RAID using ZFS. Something you probably didn't have in ES6i, and so you can use that instead of a hardware RAID, which is pretty nice. If you use the ES6i and you have a hardware RAID that might not matter to you, or maybe used iSCSI or something like that. But if not, it's there if you need it. So yeah, awesome. California. Have you tried XCPNG for virtualization? I haven't. It comes up a lot. I haven't. I've read into it, and I keep quoting this, but in their documentation they say that they don't support hardware pass-through for NVIDIA yet, and maybe they will in the future. But they don't yet. And so I have a requirement within my environment to actually virtualize a GPU or pass through a GPU to a virtual machine. So until they can do that, other than just spin it up and look at it, I wouldn't be able to give it a good run for the money. But yeah. It keeps jumping. Imperialix. Using a few R710s, I can set the boot flag for them to work with ES6i7, but it seems flaky. Yeah. Gotta go to sleep 3 a.m. Yeah, for sure. The legends never die. The ESXi to PVE guy. Make sure you convert VMDKs from ESXi to QCal. Yeah, good call there. So your machine type. Yeah, or your actual drive. Yeah, for sure. Hey, wow. I am caught up. I'm gonna actually gonna call it a night. It's getting pretty late here, and this went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to be, and I didn't realize the time until someone said like, "Hey, it's getting late." But before I go, real quick, hey, thanks so much for being here. Thanks to everyone who joined. Thanks for the raids. Thanks for the follows. Thanks for the subs. Like, I really appreciate it. I always tell people too, like, just being here and spending time on my channel and chatting, or not even chatting, or just listening is more than I could have ever asked for. A year ago, if you would have asked me if I had people chatting in my chat, I wouldn't believe you. So I really appreciate it. I really, truly thank you for being here. And I thank you for all the other things, of course, too. But, most importantly, just spend some time being here. Oh, yeah, I got the Doritos. I will say that if you are new here, I encourage you to join our Discord. We got a Discord full of a lot of smart, intelligent people that are passionate about technology. We have all different kinds of Discord channels about a lot of things in tech, a lot of things I'm talking about, a lot of things I'm not talking about. And so if you have questions or want to share pictures of your stuff or want to talk about the project you're working on or bounce ideas off of people, we got a ton of people who know a lot of things. So collectively, there's someone who knows something about almost everything. I'm so amazed at how many people we have and how much they know. And I greatly appreciate all the help in Discord there too. Thanks for posting the link for sure. And yeah, I'm gonna rate someone. So give me just a second. We're gonna rate someone too. So we're gonna pass this on. Hopefully, I'm not gonna hear an echo here in a second. Let me mute site. So and I will switch over. I will switch over to my main screen once I figure out how to use Twitch. You'd think I used this thing before. Come on, science and tech. We'll go full screen. All right, so we are gonna host someone too. You guys know how to host someone. I don't need to tell you, but I will post some emojis over here. So if, you guys know how to use emojis too. I have a couple that you can use. You don't have to use them. If you want to use them, you can. If you don't want to use them, use your own. If you don't even want to use emojis anyway, you don't have to. But, oh geez, I usually have them right here. Copy and paste, come on, here we go. So I have a list of emojis. They're all kind of geeky, techie ones. You don't have to use them, but there's some examples of ones you can. So let's rate someone. So I usually have a couple of rules. First of all, it has to be someone doing something. I'm not against our wonderful pet life. Like I love animals, but there's no one there. And another rule is, I usually don't, raid channels that are branded channels or companies because they get a lot of support on their own. And then just someone, that I haven't rated before. So anything. I'm totally open. I'm totally open to suggestions. Rocket League data science sounds pretty interesting to me. Like I have no idea. Like, okay, I know what Rocket League is. I know what data science is. I have no idea what you're talking about. So let's just see. Let me just make sure. Hey, all right. Yeah, we're gonna do this. Okay, so who is this? Nick Wan. Nick Wan or Nick Wan Data Science. That's where, can we get a visit? Hi, Sigwar. I've been meaning to check. Dude, Penguin Airlines, I just chose this one. You asked me that earlier. I feel like I'm already committed. We will next time. I will write it down. And you'll probably remind me too, but it's A-I-S Weigart. Dude, Penguin Airlines, sorry, I just missed that. We're gonna do this right here. Nick Wan, Data Science. Next time, I promise, we will do it. So we're gonna raid them. Here we go, raid. Penguin Airlines, I'm so sorry I missed your comment earlier. I was wrapping things up, so I apologize, man. But we're gonna raid, it looks like Nick Wan. Again, thank you so much for being here. I will be back on Saturday morning. Until then, you can find me on Twitter, Discord, wherever. So I really appreciate it. Yeah, Jupyter Notebooks, they are. Absolutely, they are. And when I was just saying like, whoa, Jupyter Notebooks, like I have no idea what you even do in here. And there's a run all button. And why is this website embedded into here? I should probably stick around and learn a few things. Full circle. But I appreciate it. We're going to raid them in 10 seconds. Thank you again so much for being here. Yeah, I appreciate it. Be good to each other. Take care, folks.